Well, let's begin with election news. First of all, an estimated 55% voters turned out for the second phase of elections for the 15 Lok Sabha today. 141 seats went to election in the second phase. Polling for the lone seat in Manipur was held on Wednesday.
Orissa and Andhra Pradesh were billed as the game-changer states, where simultaneous assembly polls were also held. Andhra registered a huge turnout of 68%, while Assam had a turnout of 62% and Maharashtra at 58%. Voters braved scorching heat and the threat of Naxal violence in some places to turn out in huge numbers in all the 13 states that went to polls. Naxals tried to disrupt polling in some places in Jharkhand and Bihar, and the latest information we had on that was that there was a Naxal strike in Deoria in Muzaffarpur. Nearly a dozen polling officials have been feared killed in this attack. What? Well, in the first hour of India Chooses, we've talked about Bihar. We've also been talking a little bit about Jharkhand and some of the other issues. But now we're going to get into some of the states which are going to be game changers. One of those states happens to be Orissa, and it's a very crucial state, not only because it's going to decide the fate of Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik and his party, the BJD, but it's also going to be a key test for BJP and seeing whether BJP will be able to make a resurgence there on its own. Naveen Patnaik says he will maintain an equidistance from the Congress and BJP. He has been making this statement over and over, and today he stuck to it.
The coastal districts of Kendrapara, Jagatsinghpur and Balasore, which went to the polls in the second phase, are the Biju Janata Dal's bastions. Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik is hoping that they remain so and his party rides to victory once again. As polling ended for both Lok Sabha and Assembly seats on Thursday, Patnaik said he had no regrets about cutting off ties with the BJP. In fact, he says the BJD's image has improved even more.
But with Kandhamal, which happened a few months ago, that was very serious and very tragic. So it was inevitable that the alliance with the Bharatiya Janata Party would break.
The BJP says that Patnaik has made a mistake by splitting before the elections.
Now the voting is complete. And the picture emerged is that there will be a hung assembly. BJP will hold its fort and BJD will badly regret breaking away from BJP.
Patnaik has to wait till next month to find out whether his gamble of breaking away from the BJP has helped him. Even as Patnaik attempts to make the BJD the sole alternative to the Congress in the state, he's also looking for a bigger role in national politics.
All I can say for my party, which is a regional party of Odisha, is that we will not support at the center a Congress-led government or a Bharatiya Janata Party-led government. We will support a government that supports the just claims of the people of Odisha.
But he told NewsX that he was not at all interested in becoming Prime Minister.
I harbor no such wild illusions or dreams or ambitions. My duty is to serve the people of Odisha with their blessings.
It was a triangular contest between the BJD, BJP and Congress in almost all the 21 Lok Sabha constituencies and 147 assembly constituencies in the state. With the BJP having established itself in the state to some extent, many believe the BJP-BJD split could even benefit the Congress. With P. Hemant Kumar in Bhubaneswar, Ishan Rasul, NewsX.
Well, Chandan Mitra is in charge of Orissa as far as the BJP is concerned. He joins us here in the studio. Chandan, welcome back to News. Let me just ask you, Naveen Patnaik said today that he won't be supporting the Congress or the BJP-led government at the centre, and he's not going to be flexible about this. You also have a situation where Ram Vilas Paswan of the LGP has said today, no way NDA, I made a mistake one time, I'm not going to repeat it again. What do you have to say about these reactions coming in?
No, I think we are quite happy that Mr. Naveen Patnaik has made this categorical declaration. We do not want him as an ally. I think the way he has... No, I don't think we need him at all. NDA is doing pretty well, and I have always, all along believed that Mr. Patnaik will seriously regret the miscalculation that he has made in breaking the alliance and possibly helping the Congress, as your correspondent rightly said, in this process.
Yeah, but I'm not quite sure about what you said. You said, we don't want him, and when I asked you whether you need him, you said no, but I mean the NDA and the UPA need every seat, every ally you can get, isn't it?
Well, may be true for the UPA, but I think the NDA has, in the first two phases, I think on the whole the BJP and its allied parties have done very well. I see no particular reason to be dependent on allies who are so fickle-minded. And therefore, I think if we need
allies, you can do business with them.
Let's get Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi first to respond to what Chandan said, saying that they don't really need these allies. Dr. Singhvi, today you had Lalu Prasad Yadav where he actually made some kind of an overture towards the left, saying that we are open to it. Chandan here is saying they don't need any allies, fickle-minded allies like, of course, the BJD in their case. What would you have to say about the fickle-minded ally like left?
If you want to have a serious discussion on this, you have to start with the principle that the only true dividing line, whether you call it rhetorical, whether you call it illusory or not, the only true dividing line, watershed, fault line of Indian politics is communal versus non-communal forces or communal versus secular forces. Whether you like it or not, parties will go this side or that side of that line. Now, the real problem with the BJP is that post-election, depending on the figures, the chances of a vast majority of parties out there, whether you call them third front, fourth front, fifth front, the chances of them joining what is perceived in common perception to be a communal formation, and I'm not now making allegations, they may think themselves to be most secular, but the perception is communal, the parties joining them will be next to nil in that group. Do you imagine the RJD or the LGP joining them? And therefore, they are only making a virtue out of necessity.
All right, Dr. Singhvi, Chandan wants to respond to this.
No, my only point is that we know that communalism and secularism are very convenient labels. Person can be communal one day and turn secular the next day, as in the case of Mr. Naveen Patnaik. Till the 7th of March, he was communal. He woke up on the 8th morning and he has become secular. And this has happened with Mr. Ramvilas Paswan as well. Mr. Ramvilas Paswan was very much a part of the NDA government. He enjoyed the fruits of government and then suddenly discovered that he was actually a very secular man. He's gone that side. So what is the, to say that this is the fault line in Indian politics, I'm sure Mr. Singhvi knows very well it is not. It is, as far as the smaller parties are concerned, the allies are concerned, I think the left has certain principles, but apart from that, I cannot think of any party which is going to stick to this particular fault line.
Dr. Singhvi is not agreeable with this, is he?
You didn't allow me to even complete my comment. I was making a totally different comment. I am not suggesting that there is no political promiscuity. Of course there is. I was saying the basic fault line is that the Congress and the BJP will never meet, the Congress and the Shiv Sena will never meet. Now, apart from this fault line, Trinamool also has moved. The point I was trying to make before you cut me off was that we do not mind allying with any forces post-election subject to the overriding criterion that the severance with what we consider communal forces should be absolute and complete. Neither directly or indirectly should they have any link with. That's what happened with the Trinamool. For the last 1.5 years, we've been trying to join, but we did not agree because we were not sure whether Trinamool had left the NDA or not. Now that has happened, we've joined.
Right.
So the point I'm making is, Mr. Mitra's party has no option but to say, we don't need Mr. Patnaik. Of course they need him. They need him desperately, but they can't help it. A large majority of these parties can't be seen as easily joining or rejoining.
Yeah, but Dr. Singhvi, I mean, you just mentioned over here that you will not mind allying with secular forces so long as it's not the BJP, the Shiv Sena. But let's look at what some of these forces are saying today. Lalu Prasad and Paswan said today that the UPA will need the left front. Prakash Karat said today in the afternoon that there's no way a government will be possible with the Congress party. Naveen Patnaik in Odisha said there's no way he'll be supporting the Congress-led government at the centre. It looks like a lot of these people are not on the same page as you, and a lot of these people, of course, are either your allies right now or have been your allies. What do you have to say about that?
You are right. What you are only making is the point that there is a division within the broad section of secular forces. That does not mean that any of them are A, going to be supporting or joining the BJP, B, a large number of them, depending entirely on the arithmetic and the chemistry post May 16th, I am saying are likely, the odds are, the philosophy is, the past association is, are more likely to join the Congress-led formation than any other formation. That's the point I am making. As far as the left is concerned, let's be clear, BJP of course out of the question, but even otherwise, this is all speculative because the left cannot hope that a single largest party, if the Congress is that, on an all India basis, is going to be supporting the left from outside.
All right, let's get a reaction from Chandan here. Chandan, Dr. Singhvi mentioned political promiscuity, and he mentioned the fact that yes, managing allies is very difficult, whether it's for the BJP or it's for the Congress. Even the left that he's talking about, a very big issue on which they don't see eye to eye is the nuclear deal. Even where you're concerned, even your allies are facing problems. How does a post-post scenario then work out? Is it just a case of numbers?
No, my objection to what Mr. Singhvi is saying is to drape the whole thing in the mantle of ideology. See, yes, there's political promiscuity and parties have switched from one camp to the other. Don't put secular and communal labels on them. DMK has been part of the NDA, DMK is now part of UPA. Now, Mr. Ajit Singh has been part of the Congress arrangement, he is now part of the BJP
But
arrangement.
Chandan, are you acknowledging that there is no ideology with
I
any
believe
party?
secular communal is a phony divide in Indian politics. It is not a divide at all. Because there is no communal front that is in position in India.
Chandu, we've been talking about the Congress. Let's talk about the BJP over here, because how does the BJP expect to get necessary allies after the election? You know that L.K. Advani said a few days ago that back channels are on with Jayalalitha. Then Jayalalitha the next day said no, there are no such back channels. I mean, we're confused. What's the truth?
Well, you see, the truth will be revealed after the 16th of May. And let me say that it's an honest statement that if the BJP emerges as the single largest party and the NDA as the largest alliance, which I am very certain it will, in that event, I don't see any difficulty in getting more allies, because that is what...
Yeah, let me just question, are there back channels with Jayalalitha or not?
I wouldn't know. I do not think that I am privy to any information of that nature, but certainly all politicians talk to one another, whether they are on the side of the divide or that
And
side.
when you say that after the 16th of next month, if you get necessary numbers, how many numbers do you think you need to be ahead of in order to have a realistic chance of actually attracting a lot of these allies?
Look, this is an astrological question you are asking me.
No, ahead of compared to the Congress party.
I can tell you way ahead of the Congress party, the way the Congress party has fared disastrously in Andhra Pradesh and some of its strongholds. I have no doubt that the BJP is substantially ahead of the Congress party.
All right,
after these two
Chandan, let
rounds.
Dr. Singhvi respond to that. Dr. Singhvi, today 265 seats, the fate has been sealed, and that's very near the halfway mark. What is it looking like to you at the moment? Will you give us some indications?
I don't know on what basis the Andhra comment is made. I think you need to pick up some documents and facts to realize that the single most remarkable program on hard, cold facts and figures of social good, inclusive growth have been done in Andhra. The figures are astronomical and astounding. I have myself campaigned in Hyderabad,
Right.
in Vizag and other places.
But Dr.
I have
Singhvi-
absolutely no cause for pessimism.
Okay, Dr. Singhvi, we do know that since we're talking about Andhra, that Congress is fairly strong in, let's say, a Rayalaseema and a Nellore and a Guntur. But where East and West Godavari and Krishna is concerned, is Chiranjeevi's party not going to be able to make a dent into your votes?
Well, you win, lose, you lose some, you win some. That's all right. We may lose some pockets. Who has said that Chiranjeevi's party will make a dent only into us? In some areas it may make, this is exactly the theory which is propounded about the BSP in Delhi. There are large pockets where it will eat into the TDP vote as well. And as far as the BJP is concerned, it is not even a force worth talking about. It doesn't exist in Andhra. It's got its erstwhile ally, the convener of the NDA, imagine, roaming at large with the third front for the last 3 years, Mr. Chandrababu Naidu.
But he was
And the
rolled
utter
out
hypocrisy of the Telangana issue.
the United Front before he came to
Telangana
NDA.
issue has the TDP. The TDP is part of the Telangana front. 28 years of its existence or 25 years, it has consistently opposed Telangana tooth and nail. Mr. N.T. Rama Rao founded it on the basis of anti-Telangana.
Dr.
2 weeks before the election.
Dr. Singhvi, if you're giving the example of Andhra Pradesh and fickle allies, there are enough examples all around in various states where you've seen parties change positions, change stances, change their allies, almost overnight. So it's not just that you're talking about Andhra Pradesh. This is not something that is limited to that state.
1 minute, you started the discussion. His comment was on Andhra. I'm only answering Andhra. I can't do everything at one go. Let's be a little detailed. He raised Andhra, I'm answering Andhra. On the Telangana issue, nobody believes the TDP, which switched after 25 years to a pro-Telangana stance 3 months ago. Nobody believes the CPI, which astonishingly is in part of the coalition of TRS, And while in the coalition, their manifesto says they are against the bifurcation of states, including Telangana. What more hypocrisy can there be? Now let's leave Andhra Pradesh. Let's look elsewhere. I want to come back to the basic point. I don't agree with Dr. Mitra at all for one simple reason. Yes, secularism may have been a distorted word. Yes, nationalism has been distorted by parties. Yes, communal secular words have been used as rhetoric and slogans. But if you come down to brass tacks, there are all the basic fault line of Indian politics remains communal and secular. Now that doesn't change because some parties are politically promiscuous. A small number of players shift to both sides, but the vast majority stay this side or that side. And that proves my point. Apart from the example of the DMK and one or two other parties, can you imagine, that's why you have the third front calls. Can you imagine the LJP or the RJD or other parties moving and crossing that line? There are very few which have done so. So ultimately post-election, it will have to be a aggregation or a recombination of those forces.
Alright, Dr. Singhvi, we'll just come back to you, but let's also bring in well-known journalist Saeed Naqvi, who now joins us in the studio. Mr. Naqvi, let me ask you, we talked about the Congress, the BJP, let's also bring in the third forces over here. You know that CPM General Secretary Prakash Karat has said today that they could join a third front government. What do you believe? Do you think that would be a historic opportunity or a historic blunder for them?
Well, in 1996, they were offered the crown. Let us give it to the left. They were offered the Prime Ministership of India. Jyoti Basu was nearly crowned Prime Minister. It was the central and the Congress party had agreed to support the apparatus from the outside. It is the Central Committee of the Communist Party of India which rejected the proposal. And I think one should give it to the left that they, although it was not altogether altruistic, I mean, they had their own political game in it because they are in it for politics, but they did. And in fact, I was delighted that Chandan Mitra, who once upon a time may have flirted with the left, said that other than the left, there is no other party which is consistent to its ideology.
All right, Dr. Naqvi, I'm going to come back to you. I want to take one question to Dr. Singhvi. After the statements that today Lalu Prasad Yadav has made or Ram Vilas Paswan has made as far as making overtures towards the left is concerned, let's get your point of view where the left is concerned. Are you looking at them as an ally post-poll or not?
I want to make 2 or 3 points about the left. We have never said that we will never consider the left support at all. It is Mr. Prakash Karat who seems to have said that we will not be in a combination with the Congress. They have supported us for 4.5 years. We have made it clear that if you decide to exercise veto on policies which we think are good for the government, we will not allow any constituent of the UPA to have a veto. But if you are there for constructive criticism, if you support us on issues, we have no problem. We are not considering you are untouchable or a pariah outside the system. Never have. However, on the issue of changing ideology, I think largely the left has been consistent, but there have been aberrations. The left has been part of a formation which is indirectly supported both by the BJP and the left.
But Dr. Singhvi, when you are saying that you've never said that you will not take left support, but the fact is that they have very categorically come out with the point that they are, if they come in and they are going to this time be part of the government, they are going to be very against the nuclear deal. How do you work around that?
We have not said that if the left offers us support, we will not take it. It is for them to decide. I don't think we'll need their support at all. But on a hypothetical basis, if they offer support, we have no problem. The problem we have is with the theory of the tail wagging the dog. The theory that the Congress should support the left from outside or otherwise. I think anybody who knows democracy and politics in India, if the Congress is the single largest party, which I have no doubt it will be, it has to be the pole around which the magnetic pull operates. And for the left to believe that we will support them and they will not, they will be the leaders in the government is, I think, an extremely illusory and a kind of a ostrich in the sand attitude. But let me just complete one sentence and I am done. There have been occasions, and you can see it now, the left trying strongly with Ms. Jayalalitha and Ms. Mayawati. Both of them are strongly for pro-market forces.
Right.
All right.
Where is the left's ideology? What about the left's dilution of ideology on that front?
All right, let's just focus a little bit. Let's talk about Odisha now, because we were talking about Odisha a little bit earlier on, and now we have the BJD's young leader Jay Panda, who joins us from Bhubaneswar. Jay, let me just ask you, because the BJD's been ruling over Odisha for the last 11 years, but the opposition over there is still saying that development and poverty still remains the way it was. There are lots of. Let me just ask you a simple question: what is the BJP telling the electorate, the BJD? What have you done as far as poverty alleviation and development is concerned? What are you telling your electorate in this election?
Well, if you look at history, Odisha had a glorious past between 1,000 and 2,000 years ago. But for 500 years, we have been backward. During the British Raj, during the post-independence period, the turnaround has only started very recently. So we've had a very historic turnaround only 4 years ago. Now, if you look at the statistics, and these are not our statistics, these are international and national level statistics from UNDP, from World Bank and other sources, Odisha's GDP growth rate is now higher than the national average. And the results of this are also seen. For example, the state has now taken on many poverty reduction programs which are directly reaching out to the people. You've also had a huge success story with Mission Shakti, which is the women's self-help group movement, where today about 4 million women are not only self-sufficient but have made their families self-sufficient. So there has been a tremendous turnaround story. If you look at industrialization, today Odisha has the largest amount of investment coming into any state in the country. So there has been a dramatic turnaround after many centuries. So obviously this is going to be the talk of town, not for a year or two, but for the next couple of decades.
Jay, let's talk politics now. Naveen Patnaik has very categorically said in all the interviews today, including to our channel, that the BJD will not support the BJP or the Congress. What does this mean exactly? Are you then talking about a third front and the fact that the third front will get a majority?
There is, as of now, no formal third front. There are alliances of parties, and some of them have seat sharing arrangements and some of them don't. In our case, we have seat sharing arrangements with a few parties like the CPI, CPM and NCP, one or two others. So our focus is basically regarding Odisha. Now we as a regional party have to look out for Odisha's interest, and we will play a mature role in the center to help a stable government operate in the national interest. Now as to who will get a majority and who is likely to do well is dependent on the people of India. And we shall cross that bridge when we come to it once the results are out.
Chandan Mitra, let me just ask you, because Odisha, of course, is seeing not just Lok Sabha elections but assembly elections as well. All analysts are coming to the same conclusion: this assembly over there is likely to be hung. Let me just ask you a simple question. Despite what's happened the last few weeks, the possibility is there that BJP and the BJT will tie up together after May 16.
Absolutely no question. Let me assert this categorically. Mr. Advani has said so, Mr. Narendra Modi has said so, and we have made it absolutely plain that there is no question of a post-poll BJD, BJP tie-up, whether in the assembly or in
But why not? Why such a rigid position?
No, because it is very clear. I've spent a lot of time in Odisha in the last couple of weeks, and I am absolutely convinced that there is a secret understanding between the Biju Janata Dal and the Congress. The Congress wants to help Mr. Naveen Patnaik come to power on his own and hopes that Mr. Patnaik's MPs will support the UPA.
Chandan, let's get Dr. Singhvi to react to this. Dr. Mitra here is making this point that there's a tacit understanding between the Congress and the BJD. Now, while Naveen Patnaik has already very categorically said that he won't go with the Congress or the BJP post the 16th, are we going to see some surprise if he does manage to get a lot of seats? Would you be looking at an alliance with him?
Let the sour grapes of the BJP not rub off on us. They've had a rupture. Unlike our lack of seat adjustments, which the NDA has also had, and we've also had problems with the RJD and the other parties, our break with the coalition partners is not a rupture. Their break is a complete rupture. Trinamool, BJD, and that's the sour grapes running off here. Second answer to your second question, I've repeated, I've said so earlier, post 16th May, all options are open depending A, on the figures we get, B, on the overriding watershed, that there are certain communal parties will never ally with, example Shiv Sena and BJP, and C, anybody else who wants to ally with us will have to demonstrate like the Trinamool Congress that there is a complete severance, direct or indirect, letter and spirit with communal forces.
So Dr. Singhvi, if he is agreeable, if Naveen Patnaik is agreeable to the fact that Manmohan Singh can become the Prime Minister and you get the required numbers, could we see BJD as part of the Congress or the UPA?
Well, as I said, it's purely hypothetical. I don't think we'll need their support at all. But to answer your hypothetical question hypothetically, I will not rule it out.
You will not rule it out.
Yes.
Chandan, is this confirming your fears?
The cat is out of the bag.
Right.
The cat is out of the bag. And it's been apparent on the ground in Odisha. And I think that, Mr. Singhvi did not talk about sour grapes. The fact is that there are sour grapes for the Congress all over the country at this point of time, in UP and Bihar in particular. You see, unlike the Congress, the BJP is a force in Odisha. And if we don't come to power in this round, we are very certain that we will occupy the opposition space because Mr. Naveen Patnaik has betrayed his father's anti-Congress legacy. And Trinamool Congress, let me just quickly add, Trinamool Congress has made it a condition that they will support the Congress provided the Congress is in no way linked to the left. So the sanguinity that Mr. Singhvi is showing today, I don't think will stand the test of time.
Chandan, we have just a minute or so left in this segment, but very briefly I just want to ask you, I mean, you're suspicious the Congress and the BJD are doing some backroom deal over here. But why is the BJP-BJD deal gone so badly wrong that is beyond redemption even after May 16?
No, the deal hasn't, there was nothing wrong with the deal. Mr. Naveen Patnaik...
They were your oldest allies.
Absolutely, oldest, trouble-free. We had excellent relations. But, I mean, after 9 years of enjoying power in Odisha with the support of the BJP, Mr. Naveen Patnaik one fine morning decides that every bone in his body is quote-unquote secular and starts saying that is a Kandhamal issue that led him to break the alliance. I mean, Kandhamal, for heaven's sake,
okay, so 20 seconds, what was the real reason then? In 20 seconds, what really went on in Naveen Patnaik's head?
It is a delusion of self-popularity, and I think some people in the BJD were working to kind of create a separate base for Mr. Patnaik and perhaps push him towards the Congress.
All right, we're going to take a break, but after this post-mortem of Odisha, but I'm going to take one last point to Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi. 265 seats, what is it looking like for the Congress? Will you give us some numbers at all?
Obviously, I'm not in the business of astrology, and obviously there's no question of giving numbers. Your surveys have failed to predict. I certainly don't want to be a predictor. I can only say 2 or 3 general things. One, we are bound to be the single largest party. 2, our combination, our alliance is bound to be the single largest. And in our Congress Plus combination, we have no doubt that we'll comfortably cross the relevant mark and become the majority to form the government.
All right, Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, thank you so much for joining us. Chandan, I know you have to go as well. Thank you so much. We're going to have to wait and see who crosses the mark when. Syed Naqvi is going to, of course, stay, and right after the break, we're going to be joined by Prabhash Joshi.
We'll talk about Maharashtra, other important states as well, which have gone to the election today, phase 2. But just in a minute or two, keep watching. We'll be right back.